Okay. Hi guys, this is Parissa. I wanted to come on here today. I've been very excited. I did a live yesterday because I wanted to tell you that I have an amazing story to share with you today. You guys can see me talk about NRF2 activation and how important it is for our bodies to heal. And basically last week, one of my friends who works with me called me in such excitement and said one of her clients called her with tears in her eyes, telling her about her story. And when she was telling me on the phone what kind of happened, I was getting goosebumps. So last night I spoke to Elena and I was very excited, and I asked her if she would come on with me and share the story with you guys. So if you're jumping on, please say hello and just let us know that you can hear us. That would be amazing. So guys, and let us know where you're listening from. Yeah, I think we're live. It's kind of saying low network, but we're hoping this is working. So, yeah, like this is an incredible story, and I'll let her share it with you guys. But before we start, it's really important. I want to just, make this statement that we do not claim to cure, prevent, or mitigate any diseases, but we can say that when you reduce your oxidative stress in your body by 40% in just 30 days, which is what we have here, all kinds of good things happen to you, like this. So I have a story to share with you. I'm very excited. So Elena, I want to just pass this on to you. Thank you so much for coming and doing this. I really appreciate it. And kind of tell us what happened to you, where this started, what the story started.
Well, first of all, Chris, I'm honored that you asked me to do this with you and to share this with the world and on Facebook. Just to give you a little bit of a background about myself, I'll rewind the clock, or the calendar rather, to 2011. And at this time I was, by the way, I'm 37, so at the time I was 30 years old. And I was working in an incredible career as a medical consultant, a senior medical writer. I traveled the globe. And my life was just moving and shaking, and I was pregnant with my son. And I'll take you to August 17th, 2011. I was driving my little hatchback car at the time, coming home from watching a friend's newborn baby and giving me some practice for my newborn baby that was just about to come in just a matter of a few weeks. And I was stopped on Bloor Street, about to make a left-hand turn, and a guy texting and driving smashed into the back of my vehicle, going approximately 70 kilometers an hour, which then forced my vehicle into the back of the vehicle in front of me. I immediately felt intense burning in my back, my lower back. I went into immediate preterm labor, experienced a lot of fluid discharge, incredible Braxton Hicks contractions, and was rushed immediately to St. Michael's Hospital. Unfortunately, it was a perfect storm for a very complicated injury because I was already considered a high-risk pregnancy with cervical shortening. And so with me going into preterm labor at that time, it was very scary. I was admitted to hospital. They watched me for approximately 12 hours, determined that the fetus was okay, but I was 3 centimeters dilated at that time. And eventually my contractions slowed down and they were able to release me back home on strict bed rest until my son was born. The weeks that followed the accident were absolutely excruciating for me. They determined that they couldn't do anything for me. I couldn't take any pain medication because I was pregnant. The most I could give myself was an extra strength Tylenol, which is, again, a drop in the bucket, and didn't do anything for me. It was so bad my husband had to carry me to the toilet to use the bathroom. I walked with a cane, and my legs would buckle under me like a baby deer. Anyway, I naturally delivered my son. He came into this world without any complications, thankfully. But I delivered him a week early, and at 39 weeks, essentially with a broken back. Wow. So that was horrifically painful for me. And following the birth of my son, I found it extremely hard to sit and breastfeed my child because of the pain in my lower back and in my sacrum, which all of that compounded into a terrible run with postpartum depression. And God, if I could rewind the clock, I would do it all over again, because it was not a good year for me. After 12 months, I went back to work, made the return, started traveling the globe again, and a lot. And I got pregnant with my second, which was a surprise, a blessing. But after the birth of William, I talked to my husband, and we decided, you know what? I didn't want another child. I just didn't think I could go through it again. So I was blessed with Victoria, and after the birth of Victoria, I took a shortened mat leave, 8-month mat leave, and tried to return to work, but pretty much fell apart within 10 days of being back at my job. I couldn't sit for longer than 10 minutes. Being a medical writer, it was grueling hours sitting in a computer. You know, you have to be focused and on. And because I couldn't sit, I wasn't producing the work that was typically expected of me. So I quickly went off on short-term disability, and then was given the grant of going on to long-term disability, which was devastating for me, because at the time I was, 34 or 35. And I had to essentially walk away from a job that I thought that I would be doing for the rest of my life. I really loved my job. And I went on to long-term disability, and from there, my pain started to compound. And when you think about my mood as well, I was severely depressed and anxious, because when you're in pain, pain begets depression and anxiety. And when you're depressed and anxious, it begets pain. And it is a vicious circle, a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
I was referred to a number of specialists. I did the physio run, I did the chiro run, but wasn't touching my pain. An MRI diagnosed me with bulging discs, tears, joint narrowing in my left side of my sacrum. So all of these just made for, again, a perfect storm of chronic pain, which eventually turned into fibromyalgia, which was diagnosed by a very prominent rheumatologist. And my outlook at 35 was pretty bleak.
Wow.
Yeah. So, thankfully I was referred to a number of amazing specialists. I work with a team at Sunnybrook Hospital. My GP there first started me on Tylenol 3. It got to the point where I was taking 8 Tylenol 3s a day, and it stopped touching the pain, which is not good. 8 Tylenol 3s a day, let me tell you. I was referred to the Toronto Polyclinic, where I received a medical license for medical cannabis to treat my pain, which helped quite a bit. But there was a lot of side effects with that, and having 2 young kids and being a pot-smoking mom, not exactly what am I trying to say?
What you want to...
What I wanted to portray,
yeah,
and show my
yeah,
family. So then
But you were trying to find any way to cope with
that's
the pain,
right.
and you had to try it, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to find anything that would work for me. So it was suggested that I undergo nerve blocks and a nerve burn in my lower spine. So just to kind of give some credibility to my story, I pulled out for Parissa my medical records from my anesthesiologist, and maybe Parissa, you can share with everybody what they say.
Yeah, for sure. So this is my understanding is that you had to go through this 3 times.
Yeah.
This procedure, and the last time you've done the procedure was April 2017, and what it's saying is that basically you had injection of what's it called? Ketorolac, which is basically a very strong anti-inflammatory drug, and you had it injected in, it was like basically injected by a 3.5-inch 25 gauge spinal needle. So can you just show us the size of that?
It's just a really big needle.
It's not,
yeah, exactly. So when they're injecting into your sacrum, it's one of the deepest joints in your body. So the needle is very large, it's very thick to get into the joint space. and it's guided by X-ray, so I can actually watch on screen this needle going into my to my joint space. I also did a burn, so the next report shows that I did a medial branch nerve block, and what that means is of my lower lumbar spine, so from L3 to L5. They inserted, again, what was the gauge of the needle? 27 gauge needle, where they then threaded electrodes down into the needle, into my spine. So if you have your spine, you have nerves coming off of your spinal cavity. What they do is they insert the electrodes and essentially burn off the nerves off the side of the spine. And they also targeted my facet joints.
So can I ask you, like, you said that you had this done 3 times. So when they did this procedure, how did you feel after? And obviously it was painful during the procedure.
It's more painful than child labor, I would say.
Okay.
It's like getting spinal taps, and I'm sure everyone knows that spinal taps are not, they're not fun. Afterwards, you go into a healing period where you're in a lot of pain. I was on a cane. I had, a disability parking permit. I would have to, and there was a stigma around using a cane because I would have to take my kids to school and get out of the car with a cane, and people would look at me with such pity. And the other thing that was really hard too was having to use a disability parking space, and actually I had problems with people in the public saying, well, what's wrong with you? Why are you using this space? There's nothing wrong with you. But little do they know there is no face of chronic pain. They have no idea how much I suffer inside and how much pain I'm in. So that was really, really hard for me. I went, so doing the nerve blocks and burns and narcotic therapy. I then, let's fast forward. I dropped the T3s and went on to oxycodone, taking 3 to 4 oxycodone a day, smoking half a pack of cigarettes a day. Just to let everybody know, I'm 5'11". I weigh about 120-ish pounds. I'm considered underweight and according to my BMI score.
Is that something that happened during this time? You lost weight?
I lost a lot of weight because of the pain and because of the narcotic use. It suppresses your appetite. And I was also on antidepressants, and I was on Lyrica. I was on Lyrica or pregabalin. I was on Zoloft or sertraline, high doses. Vimovo. I've been on hydromorphine. I've tried again the Tylenol 3s. And then finally was moved to oxycodone.
Okay.
So fast forward now to a few months ago, where I ran into a friend of mine, and she hadn't seen me for a while, and she was quite concerned with my appearance and just, what's going on with you? And I explained my current situation, and she's like, you know what? She's like, I think you should try this supplement that I've been using. And the only reason why I know it's working is because I'm a triathlon and my scores have gone through the roof. And it's I've done a lot of research. I come from a medical background. I have a BSc in health science. I graduated with distinction. I did a graduate MSc degree in pediatric cardiology. I've published a number of articles in CMAJ, Journal of Physiology. I've done conference speaking, so I know that I love this. I love science. So she started talking to me a little bit about Nerf too, and I'm like, is it like a Nerf gun? Like, what are you talking about? Seriously, I said that to her. I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, it's like, do you remember from biochem that little protein? I was like, no, okay, right, I know. Okay, so then she started sharing, and I was like a kid looking at ice cream selections, and I was excited. And at this point, I'm willing to try anything. So I took on a whim. I ordered Nerf 2 and Nerf 1, and with the probiotics, and I've started the therapy. So
tell us, like, kind of what happened, like, how, what did you notice, like, did you notice it within a couple of weeks? Did you notice it within a couple of months? Like, what happened? What were your reactions? Like, you already knew kind of scientifically what's happening.
Yeah.
But did you think something was going to show after all this that you've gone through, this whole experience you've gone through?
Again,
thank you for sharing this with us, by the way. Like, I know it wasn't easy for you to tell us all this, it brings back the emotions, and
it does.
It really gets me choked up to just hearing it. But I really appreciate it. I think people need to hear it. So tell us kind of what happened after you started taking it.
So I noticed quite quickly, and I was surprised that all of a sudden I wasn't craving cigarettes at all. And I literally had a half a pack in my purse, and I just threw them in the garbage. I've never done that, and just chucked them. And then I noticed that I just, like, my body didn't want it. And then my dad and my mom came to visit me, and my parents have been so worried about me. And my dad looked at me, goes, "You look fantastic today, kid." He's like, "Your eyes are so bright." And I said, "Dad, I don't know what's going on, but I am feeling great." And he's like, "Well, whatever you're doing, keep doing it." And then just a few weeks ago, I called Kathy and I started to cry on the phone, and I told her I am pain-free. Mm-hmm. I never, ever thought I would live pain-free again in my life. Mm-hmm. I was working with physicians to learn how to cope. I'm involved in a clinical trial at Sunnybrook right now on how to cope with chronic pain and mood. And I called her and said, I am pain-free. And that's when I became a believer. And I jump out of bed at 7 a.m. like Tigger. And and the fact that I've quit smoking, I can report that I had no back pain. The other day, actually yesterday, I went to see my GP at Sunnybrook for a check-in, and she canceled my oxycodone script. I have not taken an oxycodone. I am completely narcotic free. Again, no marijuana, no oxycodone, no break. She even canceled my next upcoming spinal blocks, which amazing. Is huge. And now the next thing I noticed just very recently is the ripple effect it's having on my family.
That is incredible.
My husband and I have been through some really rocky times. Even he, as my husband was getting used to and learning how to live with a wife that had chronic pain. And he comes home whistling. We are intimate again. My son and my daughter are just happier, and I'm present with my children. Mm-hmm. And it feels like limitless energy. I was on the boat all weekend, tubing.
You went tubing?
I went tubing.
No, he did not. That's crazy.
I used to be a very accomplished dressage rider, and I used to show horses and show jump, but turned to dressage. And I used to be a backcountry skier. I actually used to heli ski out west in the mountains.
So you were very active.
Very, very active.
It must have been so tough on you not to be able to.
I haven't ridden a horse in 5 years, and I just last year got back onto skis on the bunny hill with my kids because I had to do this for them, and it was worth it for me to do the skiing and to be in pain for 3 days after because I could see the reward it had with them.
Yeah.
But now I have a goal that I'm going to be back up on a horse. I think this month I've already contacted my friend who has a horse, and I told her my story and I'm ready, and she's thrilled because I used to coach, and again, I was a very accomplished rider. I can't wait for the winter to go skiing, to get back out on the mountains and go cat skiing again, because that's my reality now. And what my doctor said to me, my GP at Sunnybrook last night, was it last night? Yes, last night. Mm-hmm. She's like, "Wow, so now I get to see you for regular stuff like pap smears and pressure checks." And I was like, I cringed, and I stood up, and actually my doctor cried with me, and she parted with me before she left the doorway. She said, "So Elena, I guess I get to meet the real you."
Yeah.
And I got very emotional about that, getting emotional about that right now. And I said, yeah, I guess I get to meet the real me that I've been missing for close to 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
Wow. I am so happy for you. I really am. Like, I'm just so happy that this came your way. This is kind of, just this, when you hear stories like this, it just makes me want to share this more and more and more without, people tell you that this is not real, this is bogus, what are you doing? And I can't. When I hear, some of the things they're saying, literally, I've heard people say their eyes change.
Yeah.
The life comes back into their eyes. There's a lot.
My skin.
your skin changes, your mood, your energy, exactly what you just described, jumping out of bed. Like I've experienced, and I've heard many people say the same thing, where they just, in the mornings you wake up and you're like rested and you just jump out.
And pain-free.
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 Yes. And I just thought last night before I went to bed after having that call was like, had I not said yes to this, to do this, and then I would have shared it with Kathy, like you literally would not have. You wouldn't have heard about this.
I just would have been living my life.
Would have been and we live literally. I didn't know we live 10 minutes away from each other, and you would have never have heard about this. So I'm just so grateful, and this is why I will continue doing what I'm doing, because of people like this, and I want to change their life. So I really changed.
She changed this company, this product, this Nerf 2 little yellow pill has completely put me on a different trajectory. Like I just can't believe it. It's a miracle.
And it's just going to get better. Like this is just the beginning.
Wait.
It will get better and better from this. I promise you.
Wait.
You've just started, and I want to. I just wanted to quickly touch base. I know you have science background, right? So I think that I just want you to quickly describe what you think happened to you on a cellular, molecular level. Just like I know we love science and we get all geeked out on it, and we want to learn it. But I want to just kind of say it in a way that most people who don't even have a science background could understand it. But just describe it a little bit. What do you think happened to you? I know what happened to you, but I want you to describe it.
So being a scientist, I quickly, when I got it and I started noticing these effects, I jumped onto PubMed and I just put in Nerf 2, and I think I put in oxidative stress and got all these journal articles that came up. But I didn't even look at the randomized controlled trials. I went to a review just to set the stage for me, the inflammation or the oxidative stress pathway. So this is the way I understand it, and this is the way I've been explaining it to people, is that our bodies are overridden with stress, free radicals, and they're like little fire flames in our bodies. And as we age and undergo stress, it takes over, and the things that combat that stress turn off, they go dormant. And I understand that, in our genomes, in our DNA code, we have switches, and Nerf 2 is a switch, and it's a protein. And when you have all the stress, and as you age, that switch gets turned off. And with this activator coming into my body, it's turned that switch on, and it's released what I say to people, all these little Pac-Mans. Yes. And it's all these little Pac-Mans going around in my blood and in my body, in my cells, eating and just gobbling up all of those really bad floating molecules that are destroying my body from the inside out. And
it's all natural.
It's all natural, which is crazy. Yeah. Some people have asked me, they're like, what is the synthetic to all natural ratio? And I'm just like, there's nothing. And they're like, I don't believe you. And I'm like, look at the ingredients. And
side effects.
They're like, so what are your side effects? Have you had any? I'm like, yeah, I'm happy. I'm sleeping the night. I have no pain. Those are my side effects. So yeah, on a cellular level, I completely understand the science. I completely back the science. Then I started to read. I spent the weekend up at the cottage on the dock, like a big nerd, reading PubMed, free text and full text journal articles all on this stuff. And I feel like now it's my mission to share with every single person in my world this medical breakthrough, what you want to call it, this nutraceutical.
How can you not? How can you not?
Yeah.
I heard, I didn't have it as a recovery like you did, because I didn't go through this experience myself personally. I had stuff happen to me, but when I have heard stories, many stories like yours before, and how could you not share that with people?
Yeah,
you just can't, right? So yeah. It's so that's basically what happens in your body. You got little Pac-Mans coming in and gobbling up all of the free radicals that are doing damage and causing inflammation in your body.
That Nerf 2 switch is back on, baby,
for sure.
It's back on.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming and sharing this story with you. I'm sure it's not easy to relive that accident and all the stuff that comes with it. And I'm really happy that it's affecting your family and your kids and your husband and your extended family and your friends, because when when you have someone in your family suffering, as most of us have people who are sick or ill from other things, it does, you know, weigh down on other people in the family. So not that it's your fault, it's just the situation that you're in, right? This is just what it is. But I'm really happy that it's helping you with pain, obviously, and also extending that. And yeah.
By the way, pre Nerf 2, I wouldn't have been able to sit here for this long. I would have been up.
You would have to stand up.
I would have to stand up.
I have an idea. Why don't we jump up this side?
Well, you know what? I would like to show everybody just one more thing. So I had almost next to no extension in my back.
Okay.
Next to no extension. So I don't know if people can see me, but
yeah.
So I'm going to stand up tall.
Wow.
That's pain-free. And like now I can touch my toes.
Wow.
Pain-free.
Amazing. Amazing. I love it.
Yeah, it's amazing. I don't know what
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much, guys. If you have any questions, please message us and put into comments below, or just message us personally, message me, and I will get information to you. If you know someone who's suffering like this, please share this with them. The least they can do is just look at it, because we're just here to share this with you, because we think that it's important. We know that it's important for you guys to know about it and be aware of this, because a lot of doctors right now don't know. A lot of people in Canada don't know about this.
My GP was so excited when she's like, so anyway, I emailed her last night a bunch of information about the product.
Yeah.
She's like, send me stuff. She's like, I want to hear all about it.
Yeah.
Because GPs, like, they have no idea what Nerf 2 is.
They're not taught this in medical school. They're not. And it's not, you know, so they don't know about it. But it's becoming a huge thing. Biohacking is becoming a huge thing. Nutrigenomics is becoming a huge thing. So
yeah,
I'm here to spread the word. So, and I'm happy that you came on.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. Take care, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.